Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar on permutation, combination, and probability. So, advanced topics. The name is advanced. Why? Because these are not your typical quant topics. Yes, every topic takes effort, but this is something that I've seen scares the most number of people. I don't mean to scare you by the name though, but yes, it is advanced level. It's not any like the topics that you usually do at school. Yes, we do this, but not in that much detail. And because we do it so little at school, that comfort does not build by the time we go out of school. So, here then, we'll try to build the very basics of this topic so that you feel happier when you go out. So, master 700 level questions on PNC probability through this one webinar. Now, let's continue. I'll take this opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Shweta Koshija. I am a quant product creator at e-GMAT. And today, the agenda that I have is to help you solve every PNC and probability question using a structured approach. This is a word you're going to hear me speak quite a lot. It's not just any method. I have a shortcut, I'll do it. No, I have this method, I'll do that. No, one proper approach, one way of approaching questions that is scalable, that no matter how the exam twists those questions, you still know what to do with them. Okay. Now, the purpose is here to help you understand that the key to acing GMAT Quant is not doing 10,000 questions. It's not about the number of questions you do. What matters is what you learn out of what you do. And all of that happens only when your concepts are strong. So, the first step is for you to build a sound understanding of basics. Think about trying to spell the word xylophone. You can't do that unless you don't know ABCD. You have to know letters of the alphabet. So, start with a sound understanding of basics and then this structured approach to solving questions. So, again, I welcome everybody. I hope everyone is excited. We will talk about the flow of the session. So all of you should know this very well. What are we going to do? What comes first? What comes next? And so on. So first of all, there will be a warm-up section. So this will help us warm up for this. We will, whatever rust there is, we'll try to get rid of that. So these will be easier questions, 5 questions. The level is 500 to 600. I'm telling this upfront because a lot of questions come for this later on. Warm-up questions are this level. After that, then we, through the solutions of the warm-up questions, we do concept revision. So all of the concepts that you might have forgotten, those concepts will come back to you when we discuss the solutions of these warm-up questions. Now, after this, it will be time for me to put you to a little test. So this is when your concepts will have come back. You will have solved these 5 questions. So that initial rust will have faded a little bit. So this is the first place where you will test yourself with 3 questions. Now this time the level is higher. It's this time at 600 to 700 level. Then we'll do more. We'll raise the bar, and this time in the second sprint of questions, you will again have 3, but this time 700 plus level. We are going to discuss solutions, detailed solutions, because of which you will get thorough feedback and takeaways throughout. This time, every time you get a question wrong, or you don't know the exact reason you got it correct, maybe you did, but your reason was not perfect, make sure you take everything you can out of this feedback that I give you. By the end of the session, you should have a nice list of areas where you still struggle. Okay, I still don't understand this concept, or this kind of application I mess up on. So I need to work on this. A lot of it, I assure you, is going to happen in the session itself. But to take away something from the session about what is it that I need to work on, you have to keep an eye out. All right. So faltering points we'll talk about. So this is a question. If somebody marked choice B, why would they mark choice B? And why do so many people mark this particular incorrect choice? So I'll tell you why the incorrect choices are popular. What are the traps into which people fall? This exam, the GMAT, is a very smart exam. It knows how to trap you. So it's very easy to fall into those traps because the exam knows how you think. So if you learn how to think better, not fall into those traps, think outside the box, think of all the possibilities before you make any assumptions, you will be safe. So learn about all those. Now here we are beginning the warm up section, as I said, just to warm ourselves up. These are going to be very basic questions on permutation, combination, probability. And when you get the feedback from this, say 5 questions, you get only 2 correct, then what is your feedback? Your concepts are not solid. You need to work on your concepts first. It's like you don't know the ABCD properly. You can't think of spelling xylophone or any other big word. So this is where you will get feedback on your current conceptual understanding. If you get everything correct, concepts are good. Now here, then we will discuss solutions, as I said. Instructions for you, there are 5 questions, 6 is a typo. You will be given polls to answer. So here in the chat, where you and I will also talk, keep it very interactive, talk to me as much as you can. It'll keep the session lively and you'll have more fun. This exact place in the chat is where you will get the polls. So mark your answers only in the polls. This is one thing I'm saying right at the top. Do not put your answers in the chat, because when you do that, you affect somebody else's thinking. Say somebody was leaning towards choice A, but you wrote B, and then that person starts doubting himself. That's not fair. Let's all study together, but independently. You're going to hear that in probability as well. So let's go with the first question. The poll should be here in seconds. All the best. All right, so we have the accuracy for this one. It's 61%, as you can all see in the chat. So 61% of you got this correct. Now, that's not a very big majority. It's a pretty basic one. So 39% of us were confused. So when we discuss this, pay very close attention to everything I say. Okay? Okay, we're going to see that Balasubramanian, if that's correct. Most popular incorrect choice was C. So many people went with C. Let's see why. So, what is the question? In how many ways can we form a three-letter password using letters from this given set such that the last letter is a vowel? Well, I have no constraints on any of the first two letters. So think about it. These are your three letters, and in each of these places, you have to put a letter. That's going to make your password for you, right? Now, the last letter is the one that has a constraint. It can't be just any letter, it has only two possibilities. It can either be A or E. But for all of the other letters, the other two letters really, you could have any. Now, what does this mean? Think about it. Think about the number of possibilities at each place. How many possibilities do you have for the first letter? Well, it could be any letter. And how many letters do you have? Six. So then the first letter has six possibilities. That is what we've written here. Then, second letter. Again, six possibilities. In case you thought five possibilities, then you assumed that the letters have to be different. The question said nothing about the letters being different and nothing about the first two letters being of a certain type, a consonant or not a consonant. Nothing about it. All six possibilities are open. Just that for the last letter, you have two possibilities. Now, when I have all three possibilities, I'm multiplying them. Now, why does that happen? Every time that you have an and. So, what I'm saying is instead of just starting to write your answers, speak it out. No, Aishwarya, if the question says that you cannot repeat, then you cannot repeat. But if the question says nothing, then you can repeat. Remember this rule, everybody. You will repeat if the question does not say so. Okay? Because you'll go wrong if you assume the other thing. All right? Now, here, what was I saying? Six possibilities for the first letter and six possibilities for the second letter and six possibilities for the third. See how I'm saying and. Every time that you see and, you will multiply. Very simple rule to remember. There is another situation where you will say something like, this happens or that happens when two things can't happen together. I'll talk about that later. For now, what you see is first letter and then the second letter and then the third letter. Because of that and, I'm multiplying. So I hope everybody understands this. This is a very basic and a very powerful rule. Now, we are going to go into warm up question 2. You already have it on your screens. The poll will be up in seconds. Good luck. Okay, good accuracy this time. I think the and or thing already helped, or did you already know it? Okay, so 85% accuracy. Very happy with this. Let's discuss this, and we're going to be faster because so many of you got this correct. So, what is happening here is that there is a junior school which has two classes, class A, class B, and both classes have boys and girls. And the goal is for the teacher to select one student from each class. So, one student will come from class A, one student will come from class B, and it's not just any one student, but we want a team of one boy and one girl. Okay. Now, this means that either the boy comes from class A and the girl from class B, or the girl from A and boy from B. So I said or here, and there was an and in between. What did I say? And is multiplication, or is addition. So in the first case where the boy comes from class A, you have six boys, right? So you're selecting one boy from them. That is 6C1. C combination is for selection, and for multiplication, seven girls from class B, and you're selecting one girl, 7C1. Then again, four girls in class A, 4C1, and then eight boys in class B, 8C1. Again, multiplication for and then it's simple calculation. The correct answer is D. So it's again basic combination. Combination again is for questions when you're just selecting things, you're not interested in arranging them. Now, here, the next most popular incorrect choice was E. So, a lot of people went with E. The or most of the people who got it wrong, they got trapped into selecting E. So, it's some incorrect arrangement, some multiplication, some addition incorrectly done here and there. It could also be calculation, but this is where most of the other people were trapped. So feel free to tell me in the chat. In fact, I would encourage you to tell me whichever choice you got. If you were wrong, then how did you do it? So we'll be able to find out your mistakes, and those will be beautiful faltering points for everybody else. We'll all know, okay, if you don't think about this, then you go wrong on this, and so on. So keep that interaction very, very lively. Now, after warm up question two, we are left with three more warm up questions. I'm going to bring up the next one, and the poll will also be here accordingly. And Aman, please don't post answers in the chat. Thank you. All right, so we have the data for this one now. Accuracy is 71%. So better than the first question, but lower than the second. And what's the next most popular choice? Let's also have that, Aditi, please. So here now, what's the question? In a toss of three coins. Okay, next most popular is C. Let's see. Very interesting. I'll tell you what happened. In a toss of three coins, what is the probability of getting at least one head? Now, at least one head means what? It's one or more, right? So, because there are a total of three tosses only, you can either get one head or two heads or three heads. So, there are three possibilities that you will have to consider, and there's an or in them, one head or two heads, and that way. And every time there's an or, you need to find each of them, then add them. This is there a better way? There is. Look, probability of a non-event. I mean, they're saying what are the chances of getting at least one head? What if I first find the chances of getting no head at all? So, in that case, think about it. If I say that the chances that it will rain today are 60%, then what are the chances that it will not rain today? 40%. No. You had a total of 100% every time. Same way, when it comes to probability, 100% as a number is just 100 upon 101 only. So when I want to find the probability of any event and I have the non-event, then I will subtract it from 1. So in my case, raining is zero point 0.6. So not raining is 1 minus zero point 0.6, which is zero point 0.4. Why am I even interested in the non-event? Because it's only one case. Getting at least one head was three cases: one head, or two heads, or three heads. But the reverse, no head. It just means what? That all three are tails. Wherever you have fewer cases to work with, that's the side you want to go to. And that is when you want to think about the non event. Okay? And how will you get the probability again? Find the non event and subtract it from 1. So I'm going to do that here. Now I am trying to find out the total number of ways, the probability of getting no head at all. So T, all three tails. You see, there's only one such outcome possible. And total outcomes are 8. Can somebody tell me how is the total 8? I'm looking at the chat right now. Let's see who gets this first. I'm only going to name the first person. How did I get that the total number of outcomes are 8? Will I have to write all of them or there's another way? Come on. If the answer doesn't come in 10 seconds, then I'll tell you. That means you are not so sure. Yes, Nishant. Good. So 2 to the power 3. Now, 2 to the power 3 for what reason? Okay, now Praneet also got it. 2 to the power 3 because every coin has two possibilities, head or tail. So 2 times 2 for the second toss times 2 for the third toss. That's how you get 8. If it was 4 coins, it would be 2 to the power 4. It's just going to work like that. So total upon favorable upon total is how you get the probability. So it's 1 upon 8 of the non-event. So what is the probability of the main event then? It's 1 minus 1 by 8, which is 7 by 8. That's it. I hope we're all very clear with this solution. Since our accuracy was 71%, it means 29% of us were not so sure. But now that you've understood the non-event method once, take it with you for all of the questions that are going to come forward. Every time that you see a question, there are too many cases. Think about the reverse. Does it have fewer cases? Yes, then go for it. Okay, take that as a strategy forevermore. Now, in this case, then, considering all cases is important. If you hadn't taken the non event, then you had to take all cases: one head, two heads, three heads, all of them. If you miss one of them, the answer is wrong. And recognize when to go for the non event, as I just talked about. Time for question number 4. Poll will be here in seconds. Good luck. All right, accuracy is here now. 84% for this particular question. Good job. A lot of you got this correct. So let's be a little faster on this one then. So we have 48 natural numbers, which are your positive integers. So 1, 2, 3, all the way till 48. And we are interested in saying that what if I randomly select any number from here? What is the probability that it is divisible by 3 and 5? Now, what are the numbers that are divisible by 3 and 5? It's all those numbers that are divisible by 15. LCM of 3 and 5 is what you take. Had I taken all of the numbers that are divisible by 2 and 4, don't just say 8, because LCM of 2 and 4 is still 4. So remember, it's not multiplication. It happened here because 3 and 5 have nothing in common. So then we are interested in all numbers that are divisible by 15. Now, what are those? Among these first 48 natural numbers, you just have three such numbers: 15, 30, 45. So favorable outcomes are 3. Total outcomes are what? 48. So then your probability is 1 by 16. That's it. Now, next most popular choice was D. So this is probably people who did 22 upon 48 first, and that's what they simplified. That means out of these 48 numbers, they thought there are 22 numbers that are divisible by 3 and 5. I'm sure all those people who did that now realize that they didn't really focus on 3 and 5. You did something else, and you're going to see that. For now, let's go to warm up question number 5. Good luck. Okay, we have the accuracy and it's pretty low, 58%. So 42% of us were not sure. Now see how the accuracy dropped from the previous question where you had 3 and 5, and to this one where you had 3 or 5. Everything else was the same, same 48 natural numbers and same picking up one number and so on. Let's see what really changed in this and how you should do it. What does it mean to have this probability 3 or 5? It's either that I want all of the numbers that are multiples of 3, I want all of those that are multiples of 5, but when I count these, if I just add, all numbers divisible by 3 and all numbers divisible by 5, then I will have double counted the numbers that are divisible by both of them. Basically, the multiples of 15. Remember from the previous question, there are three such numbers: 15, 30, 45. So those numbers will be counted in the multiples of 3 also, in the multiples of 5 also. So if I just straight away add, I'm double counting them. So in this case, 16 numbers are multiples of 3, 9 numbers are multiples of 5, and 3 numbers are multiples of both, because they were counted 2 times and I want everything one time. That means I will subtract it one time. 2 times I have, one time I want. So one time I'll subtract. Now, so you do this calculation and it's 11 by 24. This was the most popular incorrect choice in the previous question. So all those people, most of those people who had done it wrong, they had done 3 or 5. That's what I said, that all those people, you did not really read 3 and 5. You didn't understand. You solved 3 or 5, right? And in this case, now all those people who marked E, which as you see in the chat is the next most popular choice, I hope you can see what happened. They just did 16 plus 9, 25. The minus 3 is what you missed. And minus 3 is precisely for those three numbers that were double counted. So that's a very, very important thing. Every time that you do an or situation, don't just add the individuals and forget about it. Think about all of the double counting that may have happened. Okay. With this, we wind up the warm up section and make sure you have 200% clarity in your concepts. These were conceptual questions, and actual exam questions are going to be harder. So if we are not absolutely sure here, then those are going to be really hard. So if you got anything wrong, even one question wrong, then that means you have a conceptual gap there. Okay. So this is the first feedback that all of you got here, conceptual feedback. Based on the question that you got wrong, identify the concept that you did wrong. Some people could have issues with the non-event method. Some people could have issues with the what happens if it's 3 or 5, So different people, different issues. You should have your own notes. Now, with this, that we're done with the warm up, I will talk to you about something that we have for you. Now, I can see the struggle that we have for this topic. It's a very common struggle. How do you fix it? Yes, we do these sessions for you every once a while. We do this as often as we can, but then you need the entire course as well, right? Every little weakness that you have, where will you go and plug those gaps? For example, I helped you identify your gaps in concepts, but then you also need to plug those gaps, right? So the perfect place to study would be our Quant 2.0 course. So we are offering a trial. It's a free trial. Just get the link here in your chat, where you will understand your starting abilities first of all. It's not like you just start preparing and you just go for it. No, you need to see where you're starting from first, and accordingly you'll plan your journey. You'll understand, this I know, I don't need to do this. This I don't, I need to do it. So the course adapts itself to your personalized needs, and then because you don't have to do everything, you will be able to channelize your effort on the things that you need to do. So you'll be able to spend your time on the places where you really need to. So just take this trial and experience this for yourself. Now, as I said, we keep doing these sessions as often as we can. In fact, every weekend. So coming weekend, these are the wrong details. I think this is the old slide or something. Dewey, could you send the new details in the chat only? Meanwhile, I'll talk to you about this session, about the personalized study plan. Now, think about it. All of you might be starting at different places. Somebody might have concept gaps in 50% of the concepts. Somebody might have gaps in 75% of the concepts. And maybe concepts from permutation combination, concepts from number properties, it could be different. So your journey is not going to match anybody else's. It's your unique journey. So you should plan your journey before you just start. Okay. So personalized study plan is going to help you with that. Now we have the slide here. So master GMAT critical reasoning in 10 days. Chewy, could you get that back, please? I'm going to talk from the screen. All right, so study plan, you book a call. You will have the link here. Book a call and help our experts help you. Let them help you plan your journey, and you will be on the most efficient path to your GMAT success. Now, as I said, after the warm up, it's time to put you to practice, which is going to be through our first sprint. Now, I told you when I discussed the flow of the session that it's going to be three questions in the sprint, and these will be slightly higher level compared to what you had in the warm up. Those were 500 to 600. These are going to be 600 to 700. So, this is your instruction screen for that. Three questions, answers only in the polls, nothing here. We'll solve every question after you attempt it. All right. So here's your first one. Good luck. All right. So we have the accuracy here. I'll just quickly take you to the right part of the screen. Give me 1 second, please. Sprint one, question one, accuracy data we already have. 85% is the accuracy for this one. So pretty good. That means this time you people knew what you were doing. Let's have the slides, please. And there we go. All right, let's discuss. Can you add that to stream? Okay, perfect. So here then, there are 5 red and 4 blue balls in basket A, and there are 16 balls in basket B. So when it came to basket A, we had the exact colors also. It told about how many red, how many blue, but basket B, we just have a total number. We don't know how many of which color or what all colors there are. One ball is randomly picked from each basket, and the probability of both balls being blue, so blue from basket 1 and blue from basket 2, baskets A and B, that probability is 1 by 4. And question is, how many blue balls are there in the second basket? Now, since I don't even know what this number is, how many there are, I'm just going to have to take that as a certain variable. We'll do that. So look, total there are 9 balls in A and total 16 balls in B. So overall you have 25 balls to work with. Now the number that you are interested in is how many blue balls there are in basket B. So let's call that X. That's the unknown you have. Now probability of both blue, I already said that. I said blue in the first one and blue in the second one. And I said and means multiplication. So you find the probability of a blue ball in the first basket. So there are 4 blue balls out of 9 total balls. That's 4 by 9. And in basket B, 16 total balls, X blue balls, probability is X by 16. This is equal to 1 by 4, which is given in the question. And then simple calculation, X is 9. And that's why so many of you got this correct. Now, where is the form to enroll? I think you're talking about the session that I was talking about. I will go back to the sessions I was talking about because we missed that. So let's just quickly go and tell you about what we have for you coming up. So every weekend, I said we do these sessions. We've another session coming up in this coming weekend, therefore. So Saturday, 6th August, 7:30 p.m. IST or 7 a.m. PST, you have a critical reasoning webinar. Here, you will learn e-GMAT's pre-thinking approach, which is the approach that you will be able to use to solve the hardest of questions with ease. So it's not that you'll have to change your approach every question. It's that structured approach, the power of a structured approach I talked about. That's what you're going to learn. So registration link is here in the chat for you. And then the very next day, you will have another webinar, and this time from the quant side. And I'll be coming back with this webinar. We will be doing geometry. So today, here, we are all gathered for advanced topics, permutation probability. Next time, on this Sunday, you're going to do another topic in quant, geometry. Here, you will learn the concepts as you did today. You will learn application skills, process skills, which teach you how to apply the concepts you know. Because a lot of times it happens with people, I know the concepts, but when it comes to questions, I go blank. Why that happens? Because you don't know how to apply. Process skills are what we'll teach you here. So this is Sunday, 7th August, 7:30 p.m. IST or 7 a.m. PST. Again, your registration link is in the chat. I did not want you to miss this, and that's why we came back to this. All right, now let's come back. This question we already discussed, and we had a beautiful accuracy. Time to go into the second question of this sprint. Let's go. This looks very intimidating because of the length, but don't let the length scare you. Okay, read it word by word. Trust yourself. All the best. All right, accuracy here is pretty low, and you guys took a lot of time on this one also, which is understandable. But let's see why the accuracy is so low. There is something about how you approached this question which wasn't correct. Let's discuss. So, what's happening? There is a game, a quiz game, which presents quizzes of progressive difficulty level to its players, where D1 is the lowest difficulty, then there's D2, then so on and so forth. So you increase the level of difficulty, and that's how the quizzes are named. Now, every single quiz has 10 questions, and the game is designed how if a player answers even one of the 10 questions wrong in any given quiz, he has to take another quiz at the same difficulty level. For example, if there's somebody doing D2 difficulty level, okay, and D2 has 10 questions, this person got one question wrong, then he'll have to do another quiz at D2 level only. He will not go to D3 level. This is what is happening. This is the level of understanding you need to have before you go to solving the question. You should be able to explain the situation to somebody else in simple words. That's a clear test that you've understood it. Now, you can't just catch somebody else and say, okay, listen to me. Explain it to yourself. Look into the mirror or be however fancy you want to be, but talk to yourself, explain it to yourself, and it should be in simple words. Now, when a player answers all 10 questions correctly, then obviously he moves to the next level. Now there is Tom that we're talking about. Tom starts playing the game. What happens? His probability of answering a question incorrectly in a D1 quiz, the easiest quiz, here the chances of him doing something wrong is 0.2. Percentage wise, it's like just a 20% chance of getting it wrong. These are easy questions after all. And the next level in a D2 quiz, the probability of getting something wrong is now 0.3, 30%. So it's more chances of getting things wrong. What is the probability that after taking two quizzes, I don't know which two quizzes, he obviously will have started from D1, but he's taken two quizzes. What is the probability that he did not progress to D3? Very interesting situation. Two quizzes done, but he has not made this progress to D3. He's not going to do that. How do you think this is going to happen? Let's understand this nicely. So, there are, let's first of all put all of our information. There are so many words here. Let's try to put this mathematically. What you have here is the probability of getting something wrong in a D1 quiz and a D2 quiz. So these are the two things you have. So from this, first of all, you can get the probability of doing something correctly, no? So if incorrect probability is 0.2, correct probability is what? 1 minus 0.2, which is 0.8. So in a D1 quiz, doing something correct is 0.8 probability, and a D2 quiz is 0.7. Akanksha says add D1 fail plus D1 pass, D2 fail. Good, Akanksha. I'm going to come there. So you already thought about all of the possibilities there are. We'll come there. Now, always the learning for you till here is that infer everything that you can from the question stem. Read it piece by piece, but don't just read it. I mean, don't just read it for the sake of reading as if you're reading some story. Be an active reader and make sense of every word that you read. Okay, that's when you're really going to be able to understand things. Now, he will not have progressed to D3. That's the situation. But when is it going to happen? How is it going to happen that he does not, go to D3? There are two ways. Let's talk about them. He will not progress to D3 after two quizzes, and you also know about the event and the non-event thing. Let me tell you why I'm thinking about this. The cases in which he does not get a D3 are these. First, he fails at level D1 once, he fails at level D1 again. This is what you did not write, Akanksha. You wrote D1 fail just once, but he actually took two quizzes, na? So in your approach, you've taken one quiz. Okay. So failing at the D1 level two times, failing at D1 next time, passing D1, but third quiz then is going to be level D2. You still did not get a D3 quiz. Then third situation is what? D1 first level you cleared, But D2 you did not clear. Even now you're not going to get to D3. So, in all of these cases, as you see, the third quiz that you're getting is not a D3. Yes, Aditya, negation will work. And the reason is that I'm trying to explain that when you directly try to think of the cases, there are these three cases. But negation, when is it that he will get a D3 quiz? Only one way. He will get a D3 quiz if he passes level D1 and passes level D2. Then the third quiz has to be D3. Na? So, very good. Rohan also realized this. So, Akanksha, I hope you realize that because you did not go in the non event method, first of all, you even being inside the event method, you had not considered all the cases. And I did talk about this. Whenever in an event, there are too many cases to deal with. There's always this chance of missing out on cases. So when you just go to the reverse, where there's only one case, there's a lot less chance of missing it. So this is how you should do it. Calculating this reverse is much simpler. Okay, you did think of negation later. That's good. So then non-event is what I'll try to find. Pass D1, pass D2. How will you pass D1? If you pass all the questions, if you clear all of them, you get all of them correct. So question 1 correct, and question 2 correct, and question 3 correct. I'm stressing on this and because I want to show you its multiplication. So point 0.8 is getting multiplied with itself 10 times, which means what? Point 0.8 to the power 10. Then same thing for D2, zero point 0.7 to the power 10. And when you multiply, since the powers are the same, your bases get multiplied. So zero point 0.8 and zero point 0.7 give you 0.56 to the power 10. Now, the most popular incorrect choice here was, let me see what that was. D. Let's see why that happened. Look, for now, this is just the non-event, right? You need to still subtract it from the event. And the event was what? Oh, sorry, subtracted from the total, which is 1. And if you just mark choice D, that was, oh, look at choice D. It was 1 minus 0.8 to the power 10 plus 0.7 to the power 10. So let me talk about the one choice that so many of you went with. Guys, the only mistake you made was add these two. When I'm saying you need to clear level D1 and level D2, it's multiplication. So if you're adding, what you're saying is I will clear level D1 or I will clear level D2. Do you have a choice? You don't. If you want to get to level 3, you have to clear both of these. One mistake because of and or, and that's where the majority is. I hope everybody is absolutely clear on this one. Very interesting question, and I'm happy so many of you did talk about negation on your own. And Akanksha, who did not realize it earlier, did realize. And I hope you also understood, Akanksha, how important considering all cases is. Everybody, in fact, all cases, not just here, but all cases is a skill that you need to have for all of your quant. If you ever miss a case, you fall into a trap that was deliberately laid for you. Come and fall into my trap. Save yourself. Be careful. Okay. So then all of us will go into the last question of this sprint. All the very best. All right, accuracy is here. This is the best accuracy ever. 10%. So 90% of us did not get this. And I'm already telling you, the question does not test anything that you don't know. You already know these things because you've already talked about them in the session that happened till here. If you could not do it, then there is something about the way you did it. Next most popular choice is B. Can you tell me the percentage for B also? What percent of people went with B? Let's start discussing this. So there are three people, A, B, C. They start to write a book. They've all just started. Individual probabilities for completing their books are these. So there's a 1 by 2 probability, a 50% chance that A will finish the book that he starts. Similarly, 1 by 5 chance that Beth will finish her book, and so on. Now, a completed book, once somebody does complete it, a completed book has a 20% chance of getting published. So, not every completed book gets published, in case you didn't know. What is the probability that Beth or Carl, B or C, but not A, will get their book published? So, pretty fancy. Oh my god, that look at that. 50% of the people went with choice B. This is going to be very interesting. Let's see what is it that attracted all of you to choice B. So, B or C, but not A. I know it looks tricky, but focus word by word. Let's go slowly. First of all, this is all of the data that is given. We have to be absolutely clear about this stuff. What we need to find is here, as I just said, this is your event. B or C, but not A, will get the book published. Now think about how is this event going to happen. It really has two parts to it, that B or C do get their books published and A does not get the book published. That and this question mark, you should be able to tell me, put a multiplication sign here because it's an and. Both things have to happen. These two, B or C, they have to get their book published, and A cannot have the book published. So, this way, my main event really got divided into two events, and this is now a very mathematical way in which I've written it. So, event one, and then this is event two, simpler than where I started from for sure. What it looked like at the beginning, it doesn't look as scary now. So I'll work on them one by one. Focus on event one. Event one was what? B or C. And we did a question like this. We did 3 or 5. And you saw that you find individual probabilities, but you add them and also subtract repetition, which is where the and part is. So you find probability of B, add probability of C to it, but double counted things will be the things that were common in B and C, the probability that both happen. So we subtract that. This is a formula you should know. Okay, so you will now just put the values. Probability of B means what? This PB. This means that the book that Beth writes gets published. Now, before publishing, something has to happen. She has to finish writing the book first. So, in that case, first of all, finishing the book, you know the probability is 1 by 5. Then, publishing the probability is 20%, which is also 1 by 5. So, 1 by 25 is PB. Same way, probability of C is 1 by 20, and B and C is and multiplication, because these are independent events. I mean, B's book gets published does not mean that, oh, now B's is done, so A can't happen. There's no constraint like that. They're independent, so you multiply them. This, when you calculate, probability of event 1 comes out to be 11 upon 125. Are we all clear with this? Everyone, I'm waiting for it. Just write Y for yes in the chat if you've understood this. There is a slight lag between when I say it and when you hear it. So expect a small delay there, but the comments should still come in 10 seconds. Just type Y for yes if you're clear till here. All we've done is broken the entire event down into two events, And the first event is what we found first. Okay, good. So many Y's. Nice. Okay, good. Probability of event 2 then is the next thing that I'm going to work on. This is not A. It's already a non-event, which is 1 minus probability of A. Now, cases when her book is not published, there are too many cases. Look at it. One case, she didn't even complete the book. Second, she did it, but the publishing didn't happen. What's the reverse? That the book did get published. That happens in only one way, that she completes it and the book gets, completed. So this time, finding not A was harder than finding A. We'll reverse it to find not A. Uh, Yashraj, why can't B and C? They of course can. Why I subtracted this was that it was already counted. For example, when I counted multiples of 3, I already counted multiples of 15 because 15 multiples will automatically be multiples of 3. So it's that double counting that I'm trying to subtract. I'm not saying they can't be published together. That is exactly what I said, that there's no constraint. They can happen together, but double counting is what I removed. Okay, coming back to this. Not A had two cases, but A had one case. So I'll do this. The probability of the book being published is this: 1 by 2 times 1 by 5. If I subtract that from 1, 9 by 10 is what I want. Okay, glad that you understood. So event 1 also I have, event 2 also I have. I already know there's a multiplication, and there you go. Correct answer is choice C. Now, what was the next most popular choice? It was B with 50% votes. What is 50? 9 upon 200. Now, how would this have happened? I would like some of you to chime in. How did you do this and got to 9 by 200? This is very valuable information. You need to understand what you did wrong. Otherwise, you will not know what to fix. And that's where this being stuck happens. Because if you don't know how to improve, you're going to be stuck. So let's see some people chime in. People who typed choice B, who chose B, why? What did you do? Let's see. Even the people who got it correct, you can take a guess. This is what they might have done. Try this. Let's see. Reading your comments. I'll also keep it here at the working stage. This is. I was just stuck, so B was a guess. Oh my god. So two people who did answer B was a guess. Can other people talk? People who did calculate B, or was it a guess? Yes, B and C are independent, Rahul, and that is why I multiplied them. When I tried to find probability of B and C, I multiplied individual probabilities. If they were not independent, I could not have done that. You are going in a different direction. So that definitely means there is some gap in your understanding. So Krishnanshu says, I did not subtract the double counting. See, that was the big trap here. If you do B and C and just add individual probabilities, then the one thing that you had to subtract, you will not subtract. Let's see B and C once. Quickly going back. Look, if you don't subtract, all you have is 1 by 25 plus 1 by 20, and this is what you took. Collins also did not take into account the independence. Did not take into account independence, Collins, or did not take into account the double counting? Because independence is what you needed to be able to multiply them, and if you don't take that into account, then what else did you do? What else did you subtract? In case you subtracted nothing, it just means double counting you didn't even do. Let's all try to find out what we did. Come on, I'm going to wait here for 10-15 more seconds. And everyone, see how everyone else got this wrong. Okay, double counting yet again. And by the way, this is despite me talking about double counting in the warm up question only. And that is when I said, take your learnings forward. The only way to make real progress is to learn from mistakes and not repeat them. That's what we didn't do. Rahul, the same way that it happened there, if I find the probability of B, consider a circle in a Venn diagram, consider another circle for C. There could be an overlap, right? That the B and C part is a part of B also, it's a part of C also. So when I just add B and C, I have added this double counting part, this and part two times. I can't take it two times now, so I'll subtract it once. Okay, I hope you're clear now. So this finished sprint one for us. I already talked about how people feel blank and then don't know how to apply concepts. And I talked about process skills. These are six primary process skills. There's one more, manipulate, where you just rewrite things in a different way, in an easier to understand way. These process skills are your Bible. Look at this link in the chat. Go through this playlist where every single process skill has been explained by multiple examples. These skills are universally applicable in quant. You don't just have to think about advanced topics or number properties or whatever. Skills to apply will always be valid. So focus on these. And you know what? Every time you make a mistake, try to name your mistake. Right now, I saw that struggle in trying to explain what did I do wrong. So this was a conceptual mistake, not doing double counting. A lot of times it won't be conceptual, it will be one of these skills that they said 10 more than X, but I did X minus 10. So I translated it incorrectly. This is a translation issue. You'll be able to name your mistakes, and therefore you'll be able to find patterns in your mistakes. You will know what to work on. So these process skills, the video lessons, as I said, are already there. With this little important tip, we are getting into sprint 2. I hope you're all ready to apply all of your learnings on these questions. Again, these are 700 plus level questions this time. Concepts are the same. Trust yourself. Don't scare yourself away from anything. Focus, it's going to happen. Number 1, all the best. All right, so 54% accuracy for this one. Let's discuss this. Let's see why the accuracy is low again and focus on the approach that I use. Okay, you need to focus more on how to do things. Don't just focus on the correct answer. You have to get it for the right reasons. So, here there's a business school. Four out of every five students and two out of every three international students are males. So in the first situation, it didn't say any kind of student specifically. So this is total students. And here in the second one, it's only for international students. And then one student is selected at random and something happens. So I'm not going to read it all at once. It just gets too much, but I'm going to just draw information instead of trying to understand everything all at once. What I'm trying to say is read a piece, write that down. Read the next thing, write that down. Don't overwhelm yourself with information. Okay. So now, here, when we were given that one student is selected at random, probability that the selected student is an international student is zero point 0.3 and total students are 100. What does this mean? Total students are 100, probability of selecting international students is zero point 0.3. So international students are how many? Zero point 0.3 times 100, that's 30. Now look at this flow chart and we're going to fill everything here from top to bottom. Total students 100, I know, given in the question. International students 30, we just found out. So how many are non-international students? Well, from this 100 you will subtract international students, so you're going to get 30, 70. Now male female, till now I don't have it in the last part, but you had something in the beginning which was 4 out of every 5 students and 2 out of every 3. Let's focus on all students first. Look, male students from the international group was 2 out of every 3. That is, if you focus on the group of international students, then two-third of them, these are males. So then two-third of what? In my case, because I have 30 international students here, how many males do I have here? Two-third of 30, 20. Accordingly, you can immediately get female international students as 10. And then go on, it says 4 out of 5 students in total are male. So then total were 100 students now, so 4 out of 5 means 80 are male, but 80 are total male. 20 males are international, so how many are the others? 80 minus 20, which is this 60. Finally, 70 is the total number of other students. From these, you subtract these 60 males and you get 10 females. Now, the entire information, all of this that you had in these four sentences of the question, is now represented very visually in front of you. So it will be very easy to pick up information howsoever you want to. So see what the question now is. Now let's first focus on this. It says, what is the probability that at least one of them, how many are we picking up again? If a student is selected at random, we have it here. Two students are selected at random from these 100. What is the probability that at least one of these two students will be female international? Now, think about these three options. Let's try to understand what does it mean. It means one female international and one other student, or it means two female international, or both of them are correct. Let's see. Waiting for responses here. Let's see who gets this first. What does at least one female international student even mean? What all possibilities are there? Okay. I believe your C is from something else, right? I just asked this question. Come on. Okay, C. Yes. Both are true. Why? Because at least one means one or two, because two students are there. So if there's one female international student, then the other could be any student. Don't think about male, female, whatever. It's any other student. Second is, of course, both female international students. No Krishnanshu and no Rohan. If you say it's only the Oh, one minus. Oh, you're giving the other approach. Cool. So, yes, in this case, there are two cases, there are two possibilities. Cases when at least one female international student is selected. Now, cases when no female international student is selected, there's only one case. And I'm so happy, Rohan, Krishnanshu, you guys already thought about that. Rahul also thought about that. That this is going to be fewer number of cases. That you just select everybody other than female international students. So since you have fewer cases in the non-event, you're going to focus on that. Very well done. So then, what is my non-event? Selecting no female international students. Now, remember, international female students were how many? 10. So I'm not showing the whole thing, I'm just showing you the main part that there were 10 female international students. And how many total students were there? 100. So all other students will be 90. And then from these 90, you just have to select two students. Look, 90 C2 means out of 90, select two. This is your favorable outcomes. Total is obviously out of all 100 C2. And then when you calculate this, you get 89 by 110. But don't stop here. This was the non-event. You need to subtract it from one, which is something that is very easy to forget. So the correct answer here is choice C. Very good, Aditya. Who else got this? Yes, Ravindra, you answered the previous question correctly. Rahul, Rohan, Krishnanshu, Aditya. You people all followed this approach of the non event, and well done to you. Good job. So, everyone, I hope, has understood what's happening here. Try to express all of the information that you have in a form which is easy to digest. It's much better in that visual format compared to these four sentences that you might have to read again and again to take out the right information. So don't let information overwhelm yourself. Now, from that question, take the learning forward into question number two. Okay, all the best. All right, 70% accuracy in this one. Better because this time probably you represented all of this information visually because it was a very similar kind of a situation where you have a total and there are different types within that. So good. Taking learnings forward is the idea of the day. So let's see. You have N shirts, of which 60% are white in color. And then you have something about non white shirts that three out of every four have a tailoring defect. So there are two things that are really happening. It's about white, non white. That's one classification. Another is defect and non defect. Question ultimately is about what percentage of the white shirts do not have a defect. Let's again represent it nicely. Look, there are total shirts. Some are white, some are non-white. Among the white shirts also, some are defective, some are not. Same story among the non-white shirts, defective and no defect. So this is just the heading. These are just all of the classifications there are, and now we'll fill in data. So total shirts N, that's given to you here in the first part of the question. White were how many? 60%. So zero point 0.6 N. Now without going forward, if white is 0.6 N, then non-white are how many? You subtract no from the total, so 0.4 N. Then go on. 3 out of 4 non-white shirts have a defect. That means three-fourth of the shirts in the non-white department, read here, three-fourth of 0.4 N, this is 0.3 N. Automatically, you can also fill the no defect part here by subtracting. Same story for the white now. Question was about white shirts, right? White shirts with defects. So this is the one that I'm interested in, and that's why this is the one we've called X. And the remaining here then is what? 0.6N minus X. Now again, white shirts without defect. What is that region? Look, this is the shaded part. White shirts and no defect. So my question is really interested in this number, 0.6N minus X. This is the favorable outcomes. Percentage is what I want. So this is the number of shirts, yet it's not the percentage. I need to find this as a percentage of the total white shirts. Why? Because it says what percent of white shirts. Whatever comes after of, that's your total. So that goes in the denominator. So this is what I want. Now, if I look at this, I can separate my denominators and I see one thing that 0.6n upon 0.6n will cancel out, will just become 1, and then it's x upon 0.6n as the rest of it. So to really be able to find this percentage out, the only thing you need to know is the value of x by n. Either you know separate values x and n, because from that also you can find x by n, but even if you just get this fraction, you're good to go. You don't really need individual values. So till now we've only understood the given information and whatever we want. Now we'll go to the statements nicely. First statement says if one shirt is randomly selected from the entire box, then the probability of a defect is 0.5. Think about it. Total shirts are n and total defective shirts are how many? I know that. So this x and this 0.3n. These are my favorable outcomes. So then, first of all, let's try to understand this. Let me see who all have understood till here. Tell me, choose this one of these choices from A to D. What you really need to tell me is that the required percentage will be which of these. What do I do to get that percentage? Not the required one, the one that this question is talking about, the probability that this is talking about. Which of these choices will give me that probability? That's what I'm asking. Let's see. Top three answers. I hope to get the correct answer from the first two, three people only. Okay. Praneeth says A. So A means white defect, non-white defect upon total shirts. And Praneeth, you were the first one and correct. This is right. Rohan, yes. We are interested in the probability of a shirt having a defect from the entire box. So your total remains total shirts. Good job, everyone. So A is the correct answer. And when I express it mathematically, it just means x plus 0.3n divided by n. This is 0.5. And when you simplify it, you do get x by n from here. Remember from the question stem that x by n is what we want. So this statement did give us that, and so statement 1 is sufficient. Good. Now for statement 2. The statement has changed. By mistake, the number still says 1. Probability that a shirt with a defect will be white in color. Now, again, I want you guys to come in the chat. This is more interesting because I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to give any options. Tell me the expression that is equal to 2 by 5. How do I write the probability that it's talking about? The probability that a shirt with tailoring defect will be white in color. Let's see who all translate this correctly. This is translation, going from English to math. All right, let's see. Praneeth, Rohan, Shalaka, Rahul, and others. Okay, Trilochan says it's x upon 0.6n. So, Trilochan, aren't you taking only white defective shirts in the, you are taking, sorry, I didn't mean that as a question. And the denominator you took as 0.6n. So, your total that you took, Trilochan, was only white shirts. But think one more time. What else? Come on, people, answers. Rahul, just X? How will X give you a probability? It has to be something upon something, no? Favorable upon total. White defects upon total defects. Yes, Rohan, you got it. So white defects, Shalaka also said X over N. So Shalaka, you focused only on white defective upon total shirts. But no, read what Rohan said. I would like that comment to be highlighted, please. So here then, probability that a shirt with tailoring defect, you're not talking about just any shirt, you are only talking about shirts that do have a tailoring defect, first of all. And how many shirts do have it? It's X from the whites and it's 0.3n from the non-whites. Both of these are the total, right? And from this you have to see how much are white. So very important to be able to translate this the right way. So X is the numerator, which most of you figured, but the denominator is where you went wrong. Rahul says, I mistook your question. I hope you're clear now. Krishnanshu, yes, now you're correct. So this also, you see, when you solve it, you will find n by x, and obviously from that, you will find x by n also. And so the correct answer is choice D. Very beautiful question. So much happened here. Good interaction we had. This is the level you people should keep up. And this was a 700 plus level question, and I'm happy with all of this interaction. Okay, Shalaka is clear now. Very good. With this, then, I'm taking you to yet another challenging question. This time, put all of your energy into this one. This is where I'm going to finally see where is everyone standing after this. Go for this. Good luck. Okay, we gave you extra time on this one because everybody did require that. And now look at the accuracy, it's still low. It's okay. Trust yourself, listen to every step, and ask me questions. I want you people to ask questions if you're not clear with anything. Next most popular choice was D. The most popular incorrect choice, therefore, was D. That a lot of people went with D. Let's see. Hmm. Okay. Rectangle is to be constructed in the xy plane. X coordinates of each vertex, all four of the vertices, they will be integers. How? Integers that satisfy a certain inequality that x has to be between 2 and 6. It can be 2, but it has to be less than 6. Y coordinates also have a range. So, possibilities for x and y are these first of all. So, I'm writing them down here. Now, one side of the rectangle is parallel to the y-axis. It means it's a vertical line segment. And the other, therefore, will automatically be parallel to the x-axis because it's a rectangle. So this is how your rectangle is going to look. I don't know the vertices yet. Now, how many different rectangles can be drawn with these properties? Look, let's just call x1, y1 to be the coordinates of point A, and in that case, you understand that point D will have the same x coordinate, but it will have a different y coordinate. Similarly, point B will have the same y coordinate as A, but a different x coordinate. So, say this is x2, and for D, the y coordinate is y2, something else. Now, for point C, the x coordinate will be the same as C2, y coordinate will be the same as y2. I'm sorry, y coordinate of C will be the same as B, and I'll go again. For point C, you need to look at both things, the x coordinate and the y coordinate. C shares its x coordinate with point B. So C will also have x2, while C shares its y coordinate with point D. Why? Because they're both on a horizontal line. So they will have the same y coordinate. So y2 again. So when I write this here, it's x2, y2. So overall, why did I write this? I wanted you to observe that it's either x1, x2 or y1, y2. Yes, there are four coordinates, four different points, but the coordinates that you used are only two possible values for x and two possible values for y, and these are what you need to choose. So just focus on these. Look now. Firstly, possible x coordinates are how many? Four, no? It's 2, 3, 4, 5. And possible y coordinates in total are 8. So then possible y coordinates are 8. We need to select two values out of these four. X1, X2, both of them are x coordinates. So both of them have to satisfy my inequality. So both of them have to be among these four only, no? So from these four, I need to select two. Same for the y. I need to select two from 8. This is how you do it, combination. So what you will get then simply 168. Now Mohit got that, and Mohit explained that as 28 times 6. Oh, so then Mohit, that means this is the one. This is your 6 and this is 28. That's how you did it, Mohit? Others also, do we understand the approach? Come on in the chat. Next most popular choice was D. Let me see what D was. Meanwhile, come on, confirm what your approach was, everyone. So D was 672. Hmm. That means you took a lot more possibilities than were allowed. Possibly you took X values, you forgot to notice that this is a strictly less than thing. That could also have happened. Okay, Dhaval understood this. Good. So, this, guys, was your last hard question that we did. This is one topic in the whole of quant, and to really succeed on the exam, you need to ace other topics as well. And to help you become better at those, I'd like to tell you again about the sessions that we are holding. We do these every single weekend, and this information is for the coming weekend. So 6th August, Saturday, you have a CR webinar, Critical Reasoning, which Rajat Sadana is going to conduct, our CEO and co-founder. Now, here you will learn e-GMAT's pre-thinking approach that will help you solve the hardest of questions without needing to guess on them. You'll be able to solve them with confidence. And then the very next day, I will be back with another session, this time geometry. Here again, you will learn concepts and the right way to apply concepts. Structured approach is what I will stress on as always. So this is Sunday, 7th August, 7:30 p.m. IST. Same time was the previous day for the CR webinar as well. So to conclude, I'm going to leave you with certain instructions. Make sure that you are 200% clear with your concepts. There should be no issues in your concepts at all. Thank you for being here, Krishnanshu. Other people, let me know how you like the session, and we'll also post a feedback form here. It would mean a lot if you add your valuable feedback there. It's going to take you less than a minute, and it'll help us bring more such sessions to you. So, ensure that you solve questions in a step by step fashion. Don't just do them. I did it some way, I don't know how. No, that's not going to work. Do it the right way so that even when you get into the exam room, you can replicate what you did. Guesses don't work every time, obviously. Shortcuts don't work on every kind of question, but structured approaches work on every question. Become an active reader. When you're reading a question, read it word by word. You know, read every part, translate English to math so that nothing overwhelms you. Trust the test maker. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you. He says, great session, great timing. Topic was challenging. I hope you feel better about the topic, Rohan. Great session, says Colin. We'll join geometry. I'll wait. I'll look for you. So trust the test maker. Nothing that you just can't solve will come there. Believe in your skills, not just in the test maker, but trust in yourself as well. Half of your battle is won if you're confident. When you're scared, you make mistakes that you would never make otherwise. So don't let that happen to you. And all the best. I hope to see you again in future sessions. I hope everybody enjoyed this. I'm going to see you soon. Thank you. Good night. Good day.